Yeah, and even the word God. Alex loves to use the word God. He uses it all the time. He's like, we need to take it back. We need to take that word back. It doesn't have to mean some rigid ideological principles that were supposedly written down on animal skins thousands of years ago, and we must enforce them to the letter of the law today.
Right.
He's like, God doesn't have to be that. He goes, God can be love. God can be unconditional love between human beings when it breaks the boundaries of your insecurities and of your stress or your situation or whatever the fuck it is that's holding you back from fully expressing yourself. Like, what is that feeling? Like, when you have someone that you really care about in your life and you're both on ecstasy.
Yes.
Come on. That has got to be, if that's not in love, that's got to be like in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not rather God, that's got to be in the neighborhood.
Right.
I mean, how much more holy can something get than like the ultimate joyful experience with no repercussions? Like, that's what we're all looking for, right? We're all looking for these ultimate joyful moments that almost never fully materialize.
That's right. Well, yeah, and I think the word God is a term of convenience.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just easier to say it than it is to say all the other things that you mean. Like, oh, I'm talking about a higher version of myself. I'm talking about some aspect of me that I aspire to be. I'm talking about the potentiality of all things. It's easier just to say God. It just is a quick way to describe everything.
Hearing you say it like that, I want to start using it. I want to start saying God all the time.
Well,
Praise God. Thanks to God for us being here.
Yes.
Look, man, it ain't a bad way to think. That's for damn sure. It's not a bad way to think.
Well, it's like, take the term infinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you actually tried to say what infinity means. Like, what are you going to say? Every type of chicken and rooster and planet, and you say infinity because it represents the sum total of all things.
You mind fucked me into oblivion the other day when you're talking about taking the God and taking the Bible, taking out the word God and putting in the words the programmer.
Oh yeah, let me read it to you real quick. I got it right here. As a matter of fact, I'm ready to bring it up.
Dude, you scared the shit out of me the other day.
By now, everyone's sick of this because I've read it on the podcast a few times, but I must read it again. I haven't uploaded it yet, and I have had requests for people. For those of you listening,
whose idea was this to do this?
I think that I want to say it's my idea, but I feel like I may have seen it somewhere else in a sci-fi book or something.
Right.
So I'm not really sure.
It seemed, when you brought it up, it seemed vaguely familiar.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
I feel like this is to me too. I think so. I'm not claiming this is my idea. I just did it for fun because I was thinking about simulation.
No, well, it doesn't. Whoever's idea it is, it's awesome. It's so weird when you do that.
Well, that's.
Just take away a name and change a name, and then the story becomes insane.
Well, yeah, it's because religion was at the time using terminology that was the highest technology they had. Kings and lords and angels, those were just high-tech words for them. So if we replace those words with our version of high-tech, then suddenly it starts making a little bit more sense. So this is the book of
high-tech?
Well, yeah, I think we look at kings as archaic. But
right.
If you're talking about people like, now I think Terence McKenna would say the idea of a king is a terrible patriarchal male dominator culture exit from Eden. But another way to look at it might be, here's an organizing principle to transform society into something that's organized and is a temporary bridge. We needed kings to get to where we are now. Who knows if we did or not?
Did we? I don't know. It seems like maybe. I always look at all aspects of it. People get annoyed at me for doing this, but I try to, at least at one point in time, whether I'm married to it or not, I like to look at all aspects of human behavior as being natural. Just like I would look at like weird things that wolves do, where they force the older wolves out on their own. Like there's weird, creepy shit that wolves can do. Like they kick the old alpha out.
Right. They'll
have that poor bastard wander into the woods on his own, trying to get by. Like if he can't hold his own anymore, like that happens in certain animal packs. They have, animals have weird behavior characteristics, like lions. Lions, when they get to a certain age, the young males will challenge the older male, and oftentimes like 2 or 3 of them will gang up and kill him.
Yeah.
It's crazy to watch. I don't know if you've ever watched those videos where the young males gang up on an old dominant male.
I haven't seen that.
It's dark, dude. It's dark. But it happens every time. This is the only way they do it. Yeah. I mean, this is what they do.
Yeah.
They fight for dominance, and one of them usually either leaves or dies in the struggle. And I always wanted to look at people the same way I look at all the rest of the things that are playing out. But we don't want to look at people that way because we want to elevate ourselves from all of the natural processes we see all around us, everything. We want to isolate ourselves because of reason and communication and the gathering of knowledge, right? So because we can reason, because we can communicate, because we can gather knowledge, we always want to think that our actions and our purpose here is very well thought out, and we're going to meet, and Bob and Dolores have drafted up a new plan for the community, and we're all going to find.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there seems to be some universal natural processes that are going on, and some of them are fucking horrific.
Right.
They're horrific, like war, right?
Yeah.
Universal sort of basic process that happens throughout every civilization. It's like almost unchecked. It's almost no civilizations, unless they are completely resource poor, have managed to not be involved in some sort of a massive conflict. And you're seeing that now with like indigenous people that live in the Amazon, right?
Right.
For the longest time, they were in the woods by themselves. There was nothing. No one getting to them. Nothing was going on, man. There was no conflict.
Yeah.
Very little conflict, at least, except interpersonal, normal bullshit, I'm sure, right? All of a sudden, loggers start coming in, and they want to fight off the loggers, and people wind up getting murdered.
Right.
And now all of a sudden, they have a conflict. Now they have a war because new people have moved into the area. So it's every single time people are in any way vulnerable, someone comes to take advantage of that. It's just what people do. It's a weird, almost universal rule that people find a way to do it. So then the question becomes, is it possible that we can alter that? Is it possible that we can alter that with the communication that we have today, with all the knowledge that we've gathered up? Maybe our ideas of things being natural, unnatural, or archaic. Maybe we're going to be able to reason through that. Well, I think that the computer's natural. I think the computer is like bee pollen.
Yeah.
I think it's like honey. I think it's something that the animal makes.
Well, it's a. I think the computer is a. The internet is the mycelium. The internet is the mycelium, and the computer is the technology is the fungal growth that's growing off of this network. So when you see a computer, a PC, you're actually looking at a little fungal extrusion from the network that we currently call the internet, and it's the more of these things that grow out of time, then the more advanced it becomes, because the things seem to be working together to make each of them better.
Yeah.
Dude, I have gotten so sucked in because of VR. I've gotten so sucked into this virtual reality and building gaming PCs that I go to sleep now watching people build gaming PCs, because it is fucking nuts to see these badass machines that have like liquid cooling tubes running through them that the designers have made look like blood, and LED lights that are kind of pulsing because it is kind of alive. And you just went into VR.
Right.
We can talk about that in a second, but you've seen now the potency of technology, and that it is now actually opening up many alternate dimensions for us to experience. So what we're looking at, to me, it's like, yes, right now we have war. War is an inevitability historically. It seems like a thing that can never go away. But upon experiencing virtual reality, I have realigned myself with Kurzweil's ideas that there is a probability that we actually might move into a brand new era of humanity where all the things that we used to think were just part of being a human being transform, including old age, death, and being trapped in whatever our genetic structure is. That's like an old thing. You're your body. You're stuck in your body. You're always going to be your body. This is a thing that people have gotten completely used to. It makes a lot of sense. But now we've got Jenner turning into a woman. We have people transforming into the alternate gender using technology. It's all using technology, medical technology. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to see people doing that more and more and more until finally we no longer are anchored to any of the predetermined biological components that we used to think were who we were, including our surroundings.
Yeah. It also might be possible that this is happening and it's going to coincide with medical science's advancements.
Yes.
And the synergistic effect of having these new technologies that they're incorporating, and then medical technologies that they're building off of a lot of these inventions and innovations that come up. They're so close to having little nanobots that swim around in your body and fix shit that's bad.
Yep, that's right. And there are people who will tell you, no, it's never going to work. They're never going to reverse the aging process.
They're so close. They're so close in so many ways. There was some new thing that I tweeted really recently. I need to send the article. I sent the article to Ron to Patrick, but I need to try to read it and decipher it myself. But in leafing through it, essentially they found some new drug that actually is showing to reverse the aging process. It lengthens telomeres.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is the first thing that they've ever found that lengthens telomeres. And, now they have to do these big studies on it and figure out, like, what is going on and what is... But it's essentially reversing the aging process. The aging process is a biological thing. And it seems to me that they have at least the possibility of figuring out some pretty incredible aspects of it. At least the possibility.
Dude, I mean, if you think about, like, if you look at pictures from the 1950s.
Oh, yeah.
Of people your age, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you had no idea what, like, any kind, like, dietary standards.
Mm-hmm.
You thought cigarettes were good for you.
Yep.
There was no environmental regulations. People were fucking rubbing radium cream on their balls. You know about that, right? Like, people, like, radium used to get put into cosmetic products. The idea was that
who's rubbing cosmetics on their balls?
I would.
That's the government trying to kill stupid people. That's what it is. It's
not a bad theory.
Cream for your balls. Guys are like, I'm in. When do your balls need cream?
Radioactive cream for your balls. This was a thing where people used to use radium as a form of, like, they thought it was healthy. This is a radioactive substance that people used to use cosmetically. They thought it was like a good thing. Like, look at, what's her name? Marie Curie, the woman who studied radiation.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at her lab books, you have to put on a hazmat suit because her lab books are radioactive because she was always around radiation. So there was a long, long period in modern civilization where people didn't know how bad shit was for you. And I'm sure there's some aspect of that right now.
I need to write something down or I'm definitely going to forget it because it's something that I did last night and it's new shit. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You need a notepad here, buddy.
I need to get a notepad. I need a lot of shit. I need a camera that doesn't look like a fucking security camera. I don't know why.
It's good.
Decided to.
It's good.
Fuck up on me.
Once you have some giant ass studio, people will look back in these days and they'll think it's awesome.